I said, wake up on my pony, on my pony. I said, wake up on my pony, on my pony. Thank you very much. Y'all please help us welcome back to the stage my friend, Robert Earl King. Robert, y'all sure sounded great.
Thank you. As you did. Yeah, that was great. Phenomenal evening right here at College Station. Thank you.
It is like being home.
Absolutely.
You know, people, somehow or another, people think you and I were roommates, but your roommate was your childhood friend, Brian Duckworth.
Yeah, that was the fact.
How did that get started?
Well, I moved in here.
Match made in heaven, ladies. Robert and Brian Duckworth were so generous about letting us, several of us that played music, or were interested in music, or liked to listen to music, hang out at his house. I was working with the Basement Coffee House, and I used to park my car. My first semester off campus, I parked my car, half a block from an old kind of rundown farmhouse on Church Street, Church Avenue. And I would always, I'd see several people out front playing music. And finally, I worked up enough nerve to walk up in the yard and listen to it. And those people turned out to be Robert Earl King and Brian Duckworth and Ronnie West and Roger Lister. And over the years, Jim Pinson and Jamie Rena, Sonny Fitzsimmons and Rollin Souls. There was Brian and Robert never locked their doors, and they didn't seem to mind, even when they weren't there. We'd come over and sit there at this house and play their records, play music with one another. Those are days I remember fondly. And one day in the spring of 1980, when Robert and I did everything, we loved Texas A&M so much, we stayed just as long as we possibly could. But in the spring of 1980, we both knew it was inevitable. No matter how bad we messed up in school, they were not going to let us stay. They were going to graduate us regardless. And so,
possibly a bottle of Jack and $100 bill.
Robert played me a song one afternoon at his house that I liked so much. I said, "Okay, you got to teach it to me right now." And Robert talked about, he painted beautiful pictures of places that we knew and loved and knew we were going to miss after we were out of school. And I thought to myself, gosh, I met so many people through Robert, so many wonderful people. As I went home at my little apartment around the corner and played Robert's song, I played it over and over. And I thought to myself, well, Robert King wrote about everything that we love, but he left himself out of this song. And it was a relationship that I admired greatly, Robert's relationship with his landlord, Mr. Jack Boyd. Mr. Boyd didn't enjoy the best reputation as a landlord. And he would frequently, he would check, that part of behind Northgate was the Boyette family farm, and several of the old farmhouses fell to him in inheritance, and when they got in bad enough shape, he was able to rent them to students. And he had a reputation for checking on his properties unannounced and just welcoming himself into a house that he had rented to somebody else. The first day I saw him, met him at Robert Keene's house, I was standing in Robert's living room and I saw this old pickup truck come gliding up to Robert's walkway. He turned the motor off a good 30 yards or so before he got there and just coasted in and stepped out of the truck even before it stopped moving. It was like ballet. And glided up the center walkway, up the front steps, and right into the house without knocking. It just walked right in. And I thought to myself, oh man, what's going to happen? And from the other room, I heard Robert Keene say, "Hey, Mr. Boyd, come on in." They had a wonderful relationship, and Robert always made him feel welcome. And I wouldn't have gotten to know Mr. Boyd had it not been for Robert Earl Keene. And he was a wonderful Texas gentleman. So I started thinking about Robert and Mr. Boyd, and I started making up, without Robert's knowledge or permission, I started making up words to Robert's song. And when I finished, I went back to Robert's house and I said, "Just hear me out." And to my surprise and delight, from then on, Robert Keene included those verses that I wrote into his version of the song. Robert, I would love to tell you this.
This old porch like a big old red and white curtain, standing under a mesquite tree. I know what you say, this keeps on playing. I can see that out of the sun, sweating at a pen, his work's never done. This old porch like a steaming, greasy place, lots of cheese and nuts and a water bowl of salad. Get a man to the hotel in old downtown. I steal the waitress, she'll smile every time. This old porch, the pilot's walking on the main street of Texas. Never seen a day. Cheating on an exit at 62 volts. It's almost faded down, and a scream without a picture since Jack came to town.
Weather great 70 years of Texas. He's doing all he can not to give in to the city, and he always takes the rent day so long as I run his scalp. And he picks me up at dinner time, and I listen to the rap. He said the grass is still runs muddy, just like Jesus run all the home. And there ain't never been no cane to grind. The cotton's all gone, and you know this brand new Chevrolet Heather was something back in the 60s. Now there won't nobody listen to it. Cause they all think he's crazy. And this old porch is just a long time of waiting and forgetting and remembering the coming back, not crying about the leaving, and remembering the falling down and the laugh of the curse of love from all of those passers-by who said we'd never get back up. This old porch is just a long time waiting and forgetting and remembering the coming back, and not crying about the leaving, and remembering the falling down and the laugh of the curse of love from all of those sons of bitches who said we'd never get back up.